Hi, I'm Assistant Professor Aditi Mathur, International Schools of Business Management, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. And in today's video lecture, we'll be studying how to calculate cost of preference share, cost of loans, and cost of retained earnings. But before that, let us just have a quick recap on what do we mean by cost of capital. Cost of capital of a firm is the minimum rate of return expected by its investor. It is the weighted average cost of various sources of finance used by the firm. It is also known as cutoff rate, target cost, hurdle cost, minimum rate of return, and standard cost. In previous videos, we have learned how to calculate cost of irredeemable debentures before tax, that is KD is equals to interest divided by NP or your principal into 100, cost of irredeemable debenture after tax, that is KD is equals to interest divided by net proceeds into 1 minus T, cost of redeemable debentures before tax, that is KD is equals to interest plus RV minus NP divided by N, the whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. And to give the text effect, we have to simply multiply it with 1 minus T. We also discussed how to calculate KE, that is cost of equity, with the help of dividend yield method, for which KE was equals to dividend divided by market price into 100, dividend yield plus growth, KE is equals to dividend divided by market price into 100 plus capital G, that is your growth rate, earning yield, EPS divided by MPS into 100, earning growth, KE is equals to EPS divided by MPS into 100, added with the growth rate. Realized yield method, we will be using net proceed instead of MPS in all the above formulas. And when we talk about the capital asset pricing model, that is CAPM, KE is equals to RF plus beta into RM minus RF. And this is how we calculate cost of equity. Now, let us just learn how to calculate cost of preference share. Before that, let us just recap that what are preference shares. So preference shares are those shares who are paid before the payment of dividends to equity shareholders. They have a fixed rate of dividend to be paid. Cost of preference share is the function of dividend expected by its investors. In the case of dividends are not paid by the firm, it will affect the firm funds raising capacity of the company. Again, preference shares can further be issued as redeemable or irredeemable. And same case will apply that they can be issued at par, at premium, or at discount. And they can even be redeemed at par, at premium, or at discount. So there is a small note to be taken into the consideration, that is that the cost of preference share is not adjusted for tax because preference dividend is paid after tax. The corporate taxes has already been paid. Our KP will already be tax adjusted. Just remember that whenever we calculate KO, it has to be after tax. That is why we did the adjustments of tax in the case of debentures. Why? Because the interest element which was associated with the debentures are paid before tax. And we have to take the tax into the consideration because we need KO after tax, and that is why we were multiplying the before tax element with 1 minus t so that we can get KD after tax. But in the case of preference share, we don't have to consider any tax element because it has already been taken care of. So now let us just study cost of irredeemable preference share. Irredeemable preference shares are also known as perpetual preference shares. So the formula to calculate the KP is dividend per share divided by net proceeds into 100. The dividend per shares, we can easily calculate it because it is generally given in fraction format. So we can multiply it with the face value and get the overall amount, and divide it with the number of preference shares. You can get it dividend per share, or even overall dividend. If you want to use annual dividend, you can use the annual dividend divided with by net proceeds and then multiply it by 100. Let us just recap how to calculate net proceeds. Net proceeds is equals to face value of the security plus premium amount minus discount minus other issue expenses like your brokerage expense, your commissions, your printing, and other related expenses. So the point to be note over here is that in case the issue of preference share is at par, then our net proceeds might be equals to face value if your expenses are 0. Right? And if in the question there is no such information given to us that the net proceeds calculation is to be done or not, we will always take care into the consideration our face value of the security. Now let's just solve a question to get a good hand on this concept. XYZ and company issues 20,000 12% preference shares of 100 each at par. Before itself, it is given that the issue is at par. Calculate cost of preference share. So let us just first calculate the dividend. That is 20,000 into 100, which will give us the face value, which is 20 lakhs. And now on this 20 lakhs, let us just calculate the dividend at the rate of 12%, which is going to be 2,40,000. So now we know what is our dividend. We can easily put it on our formula, that is dividend divided by face value or net proceed. In this case, it is same, so we can simply write face value into 100. And we will get 2,40,000 divided by 20 lakh into 100, which will be equal to 12%. Right? So simple, just divide the dividend with the face value or the net proceeds, multiply it by 100, and you will get your cost of preference share, that too irredeemable preference shares, right? And these irredeemable preference shares are also known as perpetual shares. So now let us just do one more example. And this example will help you out to clarify the concept of net proceed in the case of at par, at premium, and at discount. So let's read the question. A company issues 10,000 10% preference shares of 100 each. Cost of issue is 2 per share. Calculate cost of preference shares if the shares are issued at par, at premium of 10%, and at discount of 5%. Whenever these questions comes in front of you, the first thing you should do is to write the formula. So the KP, that is cost of preference share, is equals to dividend divided by net proceeds into 100. And now for the each case, we will do the calculation. First of all, let us just calculate what is the dividend. So dividend is equals to 10,000 shares of 100 each, which is equals to 10 lakhs, and the rate is 10%. Therefore, our dividend is 1 lakh rupees. So now we know the dividend is 1 lakh and it will not change in any of the cases, that is at par, at premium, or at discount. So now let us just solve a question for part A, in which the issue is at premium. And for the same, let us just first calculate net proceed. So we will first write the face value, that is your 10 lakh. Issue is 2 per share. That means 10,000 shares and then 2 per share, which will give us 20,000 rupees. So let us just subtract the cost of issue because it is an expense. So our net proceed will be equal to 9,80,000. When we will divide the dividend with 9,80,000, that is our net proceed, and multiply it with by 100, we will get our cost of preference shares, that is 10.2%. Now let us just solve part B, that is issue at premium of 10%. For that, we will first calculate the net proceeds. So net proceed will be equal to face value, that is 10 lakh, plus premium of 10%. So let us just calculate the premium. Premium is equals to 10 lakh into 10%, which now let us just add 1 lakh, which is our premium, and subtract 20,000 because it is the cost. Once you will solve this, you will find your NP. And then rest the case is very simple. You have to simply divide it with 1 lakh and you will get your amount. So when you will solve this, it will be equals to 10 lakh 80,000, and once you will do the calculation, your cost will be 9.26%. Now let us just make sure that you know what we have done. For this calculation of premium, we calculated the premium amount on the face value, and then we did the adjustments of premium and the cost of issue with the help of our formula so that we can calculate the net proceed. Once we got the net proceed, we just simply implement it in our formula. So now let us just solve the part C of the question, that is when the issue is at discount of 5%. So for that, let us just first calculate the net proceeds, which is equals to face value minus discount minus cost. So let us just now calculate the discount, which is 10,000 into 100 into 5%, which will be equal to our 50,000, right? And now let us just calculate the net proceed, which is 10 lakh minus 50,000 minus 20,000, right? And then once we get the amount, let us just first calculate the amount. So 10 lakh minus 50,000 minus 20,000 is equals to 9 lakh 30,000. And now let's just put the figures in our formula, which is 1 lakh, which is our dividend, divided by 9 lakh 30,000 into 100, which will be giving us 10.75%. Right? So what we did, we first calculate the dividend amount, and then in each cases we calculate separate net proceeds because each case was different. A was at par, B was at premium of 10, and C was at discount of 5%. And then later on, we simply put it all the values in the figure, that is cost of preference share capital, KP, is equals to dividend divided by net proceeds into 100. And this is how we calculate cost of preference share in case of irredeemable debentures. Now let us just understand how do we calculate cost of redeemable preference share. The only difference between the redeemable and irredeemable is that now we will be having two more terminologies, that is redeemable value and number of years, that is our small m. So let us just first discuss the formula. So the KP is equals to dividend plus RV minus NP divided by N whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. So this might be a situation where you see that the formula is same in the case of your cost of debentures in redeemable cost of debenture. So right now, many of you might be having a deja vu that we have studied these words, but yes, you are right. The formula is 99% same for which we studied in 99% same for the calculation which we did in the case of cost of redeemable debentures. Remember? But the only difference is that interest element is not here. We have dividend now. Rest of all the parts of the formulas are same. Same how to calculate KV, same in the calculation of your NP. So now let us just see one question and understand how to calculate cost of preference share. ABC and Company issues 2,000 10% preference shares of 100 each at 95 rupees, right? Each redeemable at the end of 10th year from the issue of from the year of issue. Calculate KP. So let us just first write the formula. KP is equals to dividend plus RV minus NP divided by N whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. Right? And now let us just identify what all elements are given to us. We have to first calculate the dividend. So dividend is always calculated on the face value. That is why dividend is equals to 2,000 into 100 into 10%, which is equals to 20,000. Right? Our redeemable value is equals to 2 lakh, because there is nothing such information given to us that the redemption is at premium or at discount. So we will assume that it is at par, and that is why 2000 shares will be redeemed at 100 each. And therefore, our redeemable value will be equals to 2 lakh rupees. Now let us just calculate net proceeds. So net proceeds formula is face value, right, minus premium minus discount minus any other expenses. But in this question, we are already given that it was issued at 95 rupees. So we will simply multiply 2000 with 95 and we will get our net proceed, which is 1,90,000. Now we will just simply implement the values which we have calculated in our formula and get the answer. So our KP will be equal to 20,000 plus 2 lakh minus 1,90,000. Our N is 10, so divided by 10, whole divided by 2 lakh plus 1,90,000 divided by 2. So which will be equals to our 21,000 divided by 1,95,000, and which will give us 10.76%. Right? So you just need to know that how to calculate your net proceed, how to calculate your redeemable value, how to calculate the dividend, and you should know the formula. Rest all is a very easy work. You just have to put the figures in the formula and get the answer with the help of calculator. So let's just have a quick recap on both the formulas which we have studied, that is the cost of preference share, so KP when it is irredeemable is equals to dividend divided by net proceed into 100, and KP when it is redeemable is equals to dividend plus RV minus NP divided by N whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2 into 100. Right? And few more points to be taken into the consideration. That is, your issue can be at par, at premium, or at discount. Even your redemption can be at par, premium, or discount. We should also just recap the formula of net proceed, which is face value of security minus premium of the security, which is equals to face value of security plus premium minus discount minus issue expenses like your commission, brokerage, underwriting, printing, etc. Right? So this is a nutshell, this is a very small way to tell you how to calculate KP. Now let us just understand how do we calculate cost of long-term loans. So the cost of long-term loans is denoted as KL, right? And the term loan from finance and commercial bank represents debt capital, which is usually repayable within 8 to 11 years in equal annual or half yearly installments after an initial grace period of 1 or 4 years. Post-tax cost of term loan is equals to interest into 1 minus t, right? Why we have to calculate it post tax, that means after tax, is because we need the KO to be after tax. And again, I would like to recall that our interest rate given to us is always pre-tax. Why? Because our calculation is EBIT minus interest, and this interest is total of interest of debentures and interest of term loans, and after that we subtract our tax, right? So we have to take care of the tax element in it. The rates which are given to us from the bank, they are pre-tax. So we have to make it post-tax. And I have already discussed the golden thumb rule to make any calculated value after tax, that is the value before tax, multiply it with 1 minus t. And same thing we are doing, interest rate, multiply it with by 1 minus t. The interest rate to be used in the calculation, of course, would be the interest rate applicable on the new term loans, mainly the term loans, not a term loan taken in the past. So we will just take the rates which are there, the fresh loans will be having, not the past rates, right? So now let us just solve a question and understand what type of questions come in the examination to calculate KL. So this is the question. ABC Limited took a term loan of 300 lakh 300 lakh from ICICI wide, an agreement entered into on 20th May 2007. The interest rate on this term loan is 15%, subject to 1% rebate for prompt payment. That means if they will do timely payment, they will get 1% discount. So the interest rate will be 14%. And the repayment schedule provides for 16 half yearly installments commencing from 20th February 2012 and ending on 20th August 2012. So they have already decided what is the payment schedule. Assuming the tax would be availed of the prompt payment rebate, and the tax for the firm is 60%. So they are saying that let us just assume that the firm will be, availing the discount of 1%. Now let us just calculate what is going to be the cost of loan. So we have to calculate it after tax. That's why our KL will be equals to KL before tax into 1 minus T. So KL before tax is equals to 15 minus 1%, which is our 14%. Why we have deducted 1%? Because we have assumed that we will do promptly payment and we will be able to, get the advantage of 1% rebate which bank is offering to us. So that is why now our effective rate is 14%. So that is why our KL will be equal to 14 into 1 minus T, that is 14 into 1 minus 0.6, which is equals to 5.6%, right? So it is very easy to calculate the KL. The simplest way, directly the rates are given, we have to just give the text effect and that's it, right? So now let us just understand what do we mean by retained earnings. The portion of net profit distributed to shareholders is known as dividend, and the remaining portion of the profit is called retained earnings. In another word, the amount of undistributed profits which is available for investment is called retained earnings. So let us just take a small example and understand what is retained earnings. Let us just assume a company have EBIT of 10 lakh minus interest which is of 6 lakh rupees. So their EBT is 4 lakh. They fall under the tax category of 50%. So it is 2 lakh tax. So EAT is 2 lakh. Let us just assume that the preference dividend is of 1 lakh. So the amount remaining that is earning available for equity shareholders is equals to 1 lakh. Now the finance manager have decision to make, that is dividend payout. How much dividend to be paid and how much money to be retained. That means he will segregate this earning into two parts. Let us assume 40, 60, 40,000 and 60,000. That means he is going to retain 40,000 and distribute 60,000 as dividend to the shareholders. So over here, our EAES is equals to 1 lakh minus dividend of 60,000, which will give us retained earnings of 40,000. Now, this 40,000 will be used by the company in the upcoming future. Maybe to buy a new machinery or to buy the raw materials or to reinvest it somewhere else. Right? So, this is the concept of retained earning. It is the amount which is retained by the finance manager from the earnings he have made, and this is not distributed to the shareholders. It's actually belonging to the shareholder. Retained earnings is considered as internal source of long-term financing, and it is a part of shareholders equity. Shareholders of a company that retains more profit expects more income in future than the shareholders of a company that pay more dividend and retain less profit. And that is why whenever it is the time to take the decisions related to the dividend, it is a very crucial decision, and finance manager and the board of directors have to take it with very conscious mind, right? The cost of retained earning must be at least equal to shareholders' rate of return on reinvestment of dividend paid to the company. Now let us just see how to calculate cost of retained earnings. So the cost of retained earnings is denoted by KR. So KR is equals to dividend divided by net proceeds into 100 is equals to dividend divided by net proceeds into 100 plus G is equals to dividend divided by net proceeds plus G whole multiply it with 1 minus T, again whole multiply it with 1 minus B. Now let me tell you what is T and B over here. The small t represents tax rate of shareholders and small b represents the brokerage or the commission rates which are associated at the time of purchasing of the security. So when we calculate KR, we assume that this amount was distributed to the shareholders and they have reinvested it in our company and we are paying them dividend now, and that is why we are calculating the cost of retained earning with the base of our cost of equity. So that is why our cost of retained earning is equals to D plus NP plus growth if the growth element is associated into 1 minus T, the tax amount which shareholders will pay, into 1 minus brokerage. Let us just quickly have a look at the another formula. If in the question directly the cost of equity is given, or you can easily calculate cost of equity, then simply use that cost of equity and multiply it with 1 minus T and 1 minus B and get your cost of retained earning. And this is the formula to do that. So this is your formula A and B. The only difference between both the formula is that this KP formula is given over here. Right? So it is the full version and this is the short form. So now let us just solve a question and understand how to calculate cost of retained earnings. So let us just calculate cost of retained earnings. If cost of equity directly is given to us, that is 7.5%, tax rate for the shareholders is 40% and brokerage rate is 2%. So our formula is KE into 1 minus T into 1 minus B, which is equals to 0.075 into 1 minus 0.40 into 1 minus 0.02, which will give us 0.0441 and which is equal to 4.41%. All the things are already given to us in the question, and if in case the question does not give you the direct information to calculate KE, then you will first calculate KE and then multiply it with 1 minus T and 1 minus V. Again over here, KE can be calculated with any of the 6 methods which we have studied in the previous video of calculating cost of equity. That is with the help of dividend methods, help of your earning yield methods, help of your realizable method, or with the help of your CAPM model. Any of the formula can be used to calculate your KE, and then you have to just simply multiply it with 1 minus T and 1 minus B, and you will get your KR. Now let us just have a quick recap on what all we have studied till now. So trust me, we have studied all the formulas somewhere down the line related with the different long-term sources of finance available to us for a company. So let us just have a quick recap. We have understood how to calculate KD, both redeemable and irredeemable. We have learned how to calculate KE with the help of 6 formulas, sorry. We have also learned how to calculate KP, again in both the cases, that is redeemable and irredeemable. We have also learned how to calculate cost of long-term loans and cost of retained earnings. And now in our next video, we will learn how to use these all different costs to calculate overall cost of capital, that is KO. Right? So now let us just have a quick recap on the formulas related with the cost of preference shares and cost of loan and retained earnings. So to calculate the cost of irredeemable preference share, this is the formula, that is D divided by NP into 100. To calculate the cost of preference shares when it is redeemable, then this is our formula, that is D plus RV minus NP divided by 2 whole divided by RV plus NP divided by 2. Then we understood the difference between the different ways of issuing. We learned how to calculate cost of long-term loans, that is we have to give the adjustments of X. So interest was multiplied by 1 minus t. Then we did a question and we understood the concept of retained earning. We also looked upon what do we mean by retained earning with the help of example. And then this was the formula to calculate retained earning, that is cost of equity into 1 minus t and to 1 minus b, where T stands for the tax rate of shareholders and B stands for the brokerage rate or the commission rate. And this was a question which we solved. Now let us just do a one more question and then wind up with our lecture. So let's read the question. The question is, a firm's KE is equals to 15%. Let us just write what all figures are given to us. KE is given to us, that is 15%. The average tax rate of shareholders is 60. That means T is 60%. And it is expected that 4% brokerage, that means B is 4%. Calculate your cost of retained earnings. So simply we will just use the formula, that is 15% into 1 minus 0.6 into 1 minus 0.04. And when we will solve it, you will come to know that your KR is equals to 5.76%. Isn't that easy? So you just need to know the formula and that's it. So now let us just have a quick recap of what we have studied today with the help of MCQ questions. So I have prepared 10 MCQ questions and let's see how many of you get all the 10 correct. The first two questions are on your screen. Question number 3 and question number 4. Question number 5 and question number 6. Question number 7 and question number 8. Read all the options correctly because they are very confusing. So you need to know the correct answer for them. And the last two MCQ questions for today's video lecture is question number 9 and question number 10 on your screens. So let's check the answers. And the answer number 1 is B, 2 is C, 3 it's D, 4 it's B, 5 it's D, 6 it's B, 7 it's A, 8th it's B, 9th it's D, and question number 10 correct option is option A. I do hope you have scored good score in this MCQ test, and please start solving the questions as many as you can. Refer to any financial management books. Even the questions are available online on the sites. You can just take the help on them, solve the questions, and get your doubt cleared as many as you can. So thank you all for watching this video lecture. I do hope we have now understood how to calculate cost of preference shares, cost of loan, and cost of retained earnings. So thank you everyone. Happy learning.